afternoon. Happy Tuesday to you. The CHGO Bears Tuesday. Get ready for the Packers show presented by PointsBet. Use that code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome in my guy, Nicholas Moreano.
Mark.
Hogue still on the IL. We miss you, buddy. Get well. And we are going to be focusing on the fundamentals today to get this show better, to get myself better, to get you better, to get Lawrence better. To get
I gotta get better.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible for Lawrence to be better.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think there's a lot of better.
Man's
things
got so much damn dominance around here. This is it's a great day. We're transitioning, Nick. We're transitioning slowly into Packer Week. And, we're not going to hear from any Bears today, so you're in studio, which is awesome. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, Mark. Yeah, Matt Eberflus talked about it. Like, after the win, they get a 24-hour period to really embrace it. But now that's over with, Mark. It's time for the Bears to start getting prepared for their next opponent, the Green Bay Packers. Exactly.
Yeah, and so a lot of Bears are saying that this is, Roquan's like next game on the schedule. Flus is not going there. But I'm going to hit the pause button because before we get there, I think we have to just realize that the respect for the Bears is still growing. There's a guy on Twitter who I had never heard of yet until about 7 o'clock last night, but his name is Nick Newman. He's a 49ers fan, and he was very upset that his 49ers, who he thought were going to be challenging for the Super Bowl this year, lost to the Chicago Bears and a head coach that apparently he can't name his name. Newman, we're coming for you, buddy. You will pronounce the head coach of the Chicago Bears correctly, or you can call him Flus. Are we ready to hear from this guy? Can we hear from him?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is San Francisco's reaction.
This is a lot. So
yeah,
get ready.
This is quite a bit. Get ready. You're gonna. Some of you will enjoy this, like me, and some of you might think that he's really annoying.
Like
One
me.
of the two.
I'm not even done yet. Kyle Shanahan got out-coached in the red zone by Matt Eberfluff. What's his damn name? Who's Matt Eberfluff, and why is he outperforming the offensive genius inside the red zone? Have you seen the Bears' skill position players? Have you seen them? And they're going to have more success in the red zone with Byron Pringles, Dante Pettis, their sorry tight ends, whoever else is on their damn roster. Kyle Shanahan outperformed by Matt Eberfluff in the red zone. Inexcusable. How is it that a Matt Eberbluff, whatever his damn name is, football team, he started in February? January? He's a brand new coach and his team looks so much more disciplined than the Super Bowl contenders, San Francisco 49ers. Disgusting!
Hey, Newman. His name is Matt Eberflus, or Flus, as I just said. And yes, you and by the way, you now know his name, buddy. So that's major, and a shout out to our guy Corey Wooden, who was in studio yesterday, who is not a big Kyle Shanahan fan and his arrogance. But listen, we're catching the football world by surprise here, Nick. It's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, and you see the reaction from Nick Newman there. Did not like what he saw from his 49ers. But like you said, Mark, the Bears surprised a lot of people in that win over the 49ers, 19-10 victory. But there's a lot of passion in there, a lot of anger, and I enjoyed it, Mark. I'm with you in enjoying it.
And I'll be just rewinding back in time, honest right now. When they hired Matt Eberflus, you can put it in the chat if you were, but was anybody like, oh yes, we've got the Flus, we got Eberflus? That wasn't me. I'm like, who the hell is Matt Eberflus? I mean, and then quickly, okay,
I was like, what's an Eberflus?
Yeah, right. This is the guy. This is the one that's going to rally us to the level that we haven't been in God for who knows how long, right? But I think we're kind of all falling. I'm falling. I have fallen. I'm in love with the Flus.
Yeah, just everything's broad because, again, he's a defensive head coach, and obviously he beat the, Kyle Shanahan, the offensive-minded guy, but it was a little hard to get behind initially. But now you see this Bears team loves him. He's getting game balls after, the first victory that he got at Soldier Field. Everyone's buying into hits. Yeah, there's a lot of Flus love out there.
I think Jesse says it best. He says, love taking opponents' hearts and stomping on them, then watching them cry. So fun.
I mean that's basically what happened there to you, Nick Newman. And by the way, Nick, you're welcome to join us here on CHGO. I mean, we can talk about.
I guess.
I mean,
I might answer if he calls.
I mean, he's available. So on the game ball side of things, Nick, Flus getting the game ball, Ryan Poles getting the game ball, but the coaching staff giving out their game balls. We're going to give out some game balls here too. Justin Fields gets a game ball. Eddie Jackson got a game ball. Jaquan Brisker got a game ball. And Dominique Robinson, Dom Rob, all getting game balls from the coaching staff, which was, to me, was interesting that Dom Rob got it because in the post game, Flus didn't want to start like throwing all the rainbows at Dominique, but he's giving him a game ball, which I think is a hell of a compliment.
It is a hell of a compliment because, I mean, a guy that's starting in his very first game, obviously played some preseason games, but gets 1.5 sacks against a 49ers offensive line that has some pretty capable tackles. So good for Dominique Robinson and good for, Jaquan Brisker. 2 rookies out of that class getting game balls in his first, ever game. So that is something that's a plus, obviously. Seeing young defenders being able to produce plays and just, make this defense ultimately better. So it's good to see those young guys getting the game balls as well. Yeah,
and it's also good to see in the chat that everyone's loving the new T-shirt look. Hit up the
yes.
First of all, hitting the like button is huge. When you're watching the show, we greatly appreciate it. And look at that sweet tee of Fields.
It's just beautiful.
You should have. Did you go on the field afterwards and do your own slide? I mean, can you have gotten that done? Was that even remotely possible?
It probably was possible, and Lawrence was telling us in our our Slack channel, like, you need to do that.
I was very upset that I did not see any video of you sliding on the field. You probably could have gotten thrown out by security, possibly. I don't know.
There was nobody down there. I kind of regret not doing anything at this point, but
I mean, Nicholas.
We'll save it for Justin Fields. That was his moment. That was their snapshot moment.
That's
what he called it.
Yeah. It probably not in your first official regular season game covering to get to lose the credential.
It would have been great to see Will have to drive home for 5 hours in a soaking wet.
That's what he was talking about. He's like, I'm not going to do that because I have a long drive. Mine was about an hour drive.
It's a reminder that Will is coming up later in the show. CHGOLocker.com to get all of our merch, including that sweet shirt. So, and we appreciate all the damn support and looking forward to, and we'll talk about it coming up here, but our tailgate a week from Sunday, 8 a.m. They'll talk about it right now. That's right, Bears and Texans. It is our first official CHGO tailgate. Food, drinks. We're right at Roosevelt in Michigan. Go to allchgo.com, click on there and click on in and come out to the tailgate, hang out. Nick's going to be there, I hope. I will definitely be there, 8 a.m., bright and early. Looking forward to it.
Braggs is already there.
Braggs is there right now. It's
going to be a fun time, you guys. So, being our first one for the Bears, we have to do it big. And so if you have the opportunity to go check that out, definitely do so.
Yeah. All right, now back onto the field. And can I just underline some things on Dominique Robinson? 28 plays he was on the field for. 28, okay? So he had something on 1/4 of his snaps. Thank you to Kevin Fishbane for underlining this. 7 tackles, 1.5 sacks, couple of quarterback hits, and then this stat I did not know. He has played 16 games, 16, as a defensive end. Now, I'm not a math major, but 16 doesn't seem like a lot.
There's actually more games in an NFL regular season now.
Yes.
I mean, right? That, I don't want to get, too over the top, like this dude's going to be rookie of the year or whatever, but I mean, at 1-0 with the Packers coming up, why not go all in? Defensive rookie of the year, Dominique Robinson. Let's go. Come on.
Look, this is a guy, too, that was in, the post-game was calling out the tendencies from some of the tackles, saying like, I saw this on film. I know exactly how I can beat him. He's doing the jump chop block that Robert Quinn is known for, bringing that in the game and getting a sack with it. So veteran moves for a guy that's played 16 games at defensive end. Mark, I know defensive rookie is maybe a little out there, but the guy's showing you everything that you want to see in one game.
He's in the lead right now, baby.
In the lead, exactly.
He's straight in the lead. Hey, Dat Dude Tank, you got to come with us for your birthday, buddy. 9:25. We planned this day for you, Dat Dude, and for everybody else too. But Dat Dude, come on, man. Let's.
Sounds like a good way to spend a birthday to me.
I want to bring you a cupcake, which We have an interview that's going to drop a little bit later at some point here, but I'm dialing up a guy by the name of Jeff Morrow, who Mr. Food. So I think I might actually cook something. I might bake for the tailgate. Is that weird if I baked for the tailgate? Would people eat that?
Love to see it.
I
would love to see it. I'd love to taste it, I guess.
Yeah,
is what
same.
I mean, I'm just gonna dial up the kitchen here a little bit. Just go next level, which I have no talents whatsoever, but I can make a scrambled egg. All right, do we want to give out?
Wait, Dark Onyx is asking. He's saying best wishes to Adam and his voice. Do we have any updates on Adam's voice?
Yes, I actually texted Adam. I
With
asked him, how you
your
doing?
Samsung, he got a green text from you.
Yes, he did get a green text, so he probably wasn't happy about that. I asked him how he was feeling. He's like, I'm great, just frustrated that my voice won't come back faster, LOL. And he said, I asked him, but is your voice a little bit better than Sunday? Probably slightly better from the Adam Hogue himself.
So what we're doing with Hogue here, if I may, and I probably can't, I'm not allowed to say anything here, but from my own doctor's seat, we want Adam to come back and be 100%. We're not going to rush him back on the playing field. I mean, we may, if it's Sunday and then the guy's at 60%, then he's going to be talking during the Packer game. We won't leave him out, but we want Adam to get well. We're gonna carry the water for our guy right now, beachfront property Hogue, but. We just want him back, and I think that you all want it. You want to hear the full Hogue when he gets back here. So, so we're here to take you through every damn Bear excitement that there is. Okay. Game balls that were not given out by the coaching staff, but will be given out by CHGO. Do you want to give any out that you want to go first here, Nick? Your game balls for Sunday?
Yeah, and are we talking about our staff here, or actually just game balls that weren't given out for players that are deserving of it? We can go either way here.
However you want to start, brother. If you want to start with us, that's sweet. I mean, I've got my own CHGO game balls as well, but I got a couple Bears that perhaps could deserve deserve a mention at bare minimum here. So
Got you.
Which way you want to go?
We'll talk about some Bears that maybe were snubbed, and look, the four that did get a game ball deserving of it. I think Jaylen Johnson's up there, Mark, for a guy that could have gotten a game ball. According to Next Gen Stats, Jaylen Johnson was not targeted in the Bears' 19-10 victory. Johnson's 26 coverage snaps without a target is tied for third most in a game. Over the last 3 seasons, he forced that fumble in the very first drive of the game. If the 49ers walk in touchdown, who knows how that changes the game, but it was Jaylen Johnson punching the football out, stops their momentum. Obviously, the 49ers get no points, and the Bears take over. Obviously, punt later, but that was huge for Jaylen Johnson. And didn't look like Trey Lance even wanted to go in that direction because of 33.
Yeah, so what I love that you just underlined right there as I get Jaylen Johnson excited, that turnover, it wasn't like, whatever, a bobble and the ball's just sitting there and it's an easy pick. That was the 49ers are driving. This looks terrible. You're talking about an elite Debo, not easy to do, and that was a highly skilled, big time. You deserve a game ball play, and I'm proud of you, Nick, for giving it to him because he deserves it. That play was one of the many plays that one of the key plays I should say that changed the game.
Very reminiscent of a Charles Tillman. Punt number 33, and then you saw it later in the game too, Mark, where he's trying to punch at the ball, even though one of his defenders is securing the tackle. He's still trying to get the ball out, and that's exactly what you want to see from a guy like that who needs to create turnovers. One game already has that under his belt.
Yeah, it's a great game. You had any others? It's a great game ball.
That was my one. I'm going to send it over to you, Mark.
So, listen, I'm going to give a game ball to a guy who came off the bench. Was on the field for all of 17 plays, got 9 carries, 45 beautiful yards on a day when David Montgomery was scuffling around. Khalil Herbert, who we're going to talk about more on the show and what he looks like against Green Bay and going forward. There is some level of burst, some level of division, exactly, deciphering the direction to which he should go in the moment. That is like when I'm watching him, it's like, what are you doing? How did you just do that again? And it's interesting just listening to Eberflus and just the way and looking at when he was on the field late in the game, huge interception. Eddie Jackson try to seal the ball game. Khalil, you're out there, not Demo. So I'm not sure what this looks like for David Montgomery long term, to be honest, because he's going to have some dollars coming his way. Will the Bears pay it? We don't need to go that far right now. But Khalil Herbert is – I think the coaching staff has fallen in love with Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, he just needs some opportunities, Mark. He didn't get enough last season, but when he did the most with them. And now this season, you hope he does get more carries, and if he can capitalize like he did even in crappy weather but still making the most of it, that's going to be best for this Bears offense. Obviously, you want to see David Montgomery be a more effective runner, and hopefully there's some blocking to help him. But, yeah, the Bears, like you said, down the road they'll have a decision to make with David Montgomery, but if Khalil Herbert keeps producing like he is, it makes that decision maybe a little easier on the Bears' part. Game
ball, buddy. Game ball to you, Khalil Herbert. All right, let's move on to Green Bay, and please hook it up in the chat here. If I want to know, is Packers week? I would assume the answer is like most definitely yes, but does it? Considering the fact that Aaron Rodgers is 22-5 against the Bears, that Brett Favre was 22-10 against the Bears, the fact that the Bears haven't sniffed Green Bay, with the exception of basically one season in the last 35 years, I mean, does it even feel like I don't know if the rivalry is the wrong word, but like I am still settling into like the Bears getting back to the level where they can actually be. Like this is a quote-unquote huge rivalry, all is on the line game. This feels like to me like we have nothing to lose. Let's go up to Green Bay and get to 2-0, and then we can start. I mean, if they beat the Packers, everything's on the table at that point as far as playoffs and like how high up we go in year one. But that's so to me, this is a nothing to lose week. That's how it feels to me, not so much a rivalry week.
Yeah, and some of the Bears players echoed that. And just simple question for people in the chat here: what does Bears Packers week mean to you at this point right now? Obviously, starting the 2022 season. But for me, Mark, when I was in high school, where the Bears were maybe a little bit more competitive with the Packers, like I wouldn't wear green that week. I wouldn't even eat cheese that week. Like that's how committed I was to this rivalry. And then usually
you wouldn't eat cheese.
I wouldn't eat cheese. Like it was a thing. My uncle brought me up. He's like, "You hate the Packers." And I'm like, all right. And most of the lunches at school, like there's some form of cheese in there, so it's like not eating anything. But like I just also knew too at the end of the day, like Green Bay usually won those games.
Yeah.
So like when you say has it been a rivalry, it really hasn't. It really hasn't been a rivalry between the Bears and Packers. But like you said, there's nothing to lose. They beat the 49ers. They had that's like their signature win right now, obviously. But if you can go into Green Bay, who didn't look very good against Minnesota, and give them another divisional loss, man, that hurts Green Bay and what they want to do moving forward.
And I guess in the rivalry part of it for me, like I did not enjoy. I laughed at it because that was the only thing you really could do, but the Rodgers I still own you,
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, dude, we know, and Bears fans were on you, so you wanted to chirp a little bit, and that's the fun of the whole deal. However, it would be sweet to own Big Aaron on Sunday Night Football at least once, which wouldn't be owning. But how about get Aaron? How's that?
I appreciate AJ's commentary. He says, Packers week is talking smack to my Packer friends knowing I will regret it come Sunday night.
Yeah, honestly, like
feel those feelings.
You see Twitter, like usually leading up to this week, and Bears fans obviously doing what they do, but I think that's just been the reality. Like we can talk the game now, and then once the game actually happens, usually it's been the Packers on the winning end of things, but Sunday night's a great opportunity to kind of change that, for Justin Fields to change that. Last game they played in Lambeau, it was a competitive game. There were some big plays from Justin Fields, and the Bears were in it until that second half adjustments weren't made, and Green Bay ended up winning. But it's a great opportunity for a very young Bears team to go into Lambeau and shock the world again.
Yeah, and listen, again, I just like allowing myself to think about it. Corey Wooden's going to be here on Sunday night. You're going to be up in Green Bay. I hope you get some video with some Packers fans. Lambeau is, if you haven't been up there, place is it's a great experience. It's Wrigley Football Field North is how I would it's right in the neighborhood, and it's just there's something about it that you got to give them credit for, begrudgingly I guess. But anybody got any weird traditions that they do in Packer Week in the old chat here? Nick's doesn't eat cheese. And
it's changed, obviously. I'll eat cheese now. Like that was, I don't know why I put myself through that when I was younger, but that was me when I was younger. Now, and occasionally I'll wear like maybe a green shirt every now and then if it happens. But
I mean, if we go back, weird traditions could be when you were young and or now. Both are open. True. Chat wise, but for me it was like I'm slightly older than you, Nick. So for me, when I was growing up, it was like the Green Bay hate was incredibly real, just for Charles Damn Martin.
Yeah, that's the name I was. As you were saying the start of the sentence,
right?
That was the name going through my head.
I mean, picking up Jim McMahon, who at that point in time was my favorite Bear, and throwing him into the Soldier Field, hard-ass turf, and in essence, as McMahon would say, it didn't end his career because the guy played forever as a backup, but his true effectiveness to be able to throw the football like he did at BYU was basically over. That, and then and Sweetness was next on his towel and all that. That was some real-ass hate. And that was, what a different NFL, too, by the way.
For sure. I
mean, he was allowed on the field with a hit list on his towel that had, I don't know how many numbers on there. It was more than 2. I think it was like, I'd have to look at it, but it was like 6 names of everybody he was going after. It was a different world back then.
I still see that clip now. It'll circulate through Twitter every now and then. I'm like, man, like how he made it out of that game without Bears fans losing. I mean, it's just crazy. But different NFL for sure, Mark.
I'll also give you a different NFL story. So back in the day when the Bears used to kick the Packers' ass in the 80s, great time. There were 2 Bears. Shout out to one has been in a battle and should be in the Hall of Fame, Steve Mongo McMichael, and his good buddy Dan Hampton. They go up there. Bears. I forget if they won or lost the game, but the bus was going to take a while before they left. Right. Mm-hmm. So they're like, well, we got an hour here before the bus leaves. Let's go out and hang out in the parking lot with Packers fans and have a couple of their cold ones and just do that. So, couple,
that's awesome.
drinking some
that
beer.
Awesome.
Isn't that awesome? They're drinking beers in the parking lot with Packers fans. They're having a good time. Like, they're not in a race to get to the bus. Well, they hear the bus revving up. And so now they're walking up to the bus, like, hey, don't leave. We're here. Ditka tells the bus driver go, and gave the one finger salute to the 2 of them on the way out the door, and finds we're coming as well.
That is incredible.
Is that not
awesome?
Is that not?
Wow.
That was a different time too.
Different time for sure.
Yeah. So. There was a little Bears, and that was, of course, the back in those days. It was Don Majkowski getting over the line of scrimmage and somehow getting a touchdown. That was like one of the few times that Green Bay won. So it's about to change again, baby. Rodgers out the door. We got Nathaniel Hackett, like that's doing whatever the hell he's doing last night. Jesus. Oh my God, legacy of Green Bay.
That was Matt Nagy-ish, what that was.
That was worse than anything that Nagy ever did. I mean, let's play for the 64-yard field goal after going out and getting Russell Wilson on my in my debut. What are you doing, dude?
How much? 40 seconds went off the clock. Like, it was just such a.
And they missed it on the broadcast too, because it was clear when Wilson walked off the field that he was walking off, that they were kicking it. And Buck and Aikman, who I was loved listening to them last night, but they missed that. And then because they turned to the camera, they were doing their whole thing, and then they turned back around. I'm like, are they like they're kicking this? And then they say, well, and Buck named it like we didn't see that when we walked off that such and such. But it was like, who would think that that's what they were doing?
I mean, it was obvious what they were doing when they let all the time go off the clock.
Yeah.
The best, I was watching the Mannings personally. And like Peyton was like he was just like, time out. Like, what are they doing? He's just like getting so upset, and he's like, yeah. I mean, it was just ridiculous though. Like, 64 yards?
Yeah, I'm right, and that, I mean,
the hell, man?
The dude's got big leg, but come on, man. And it was lightly raining there, the whole thing, just crazy. Plus, you have Russell Wilson. Use Russell Wilson.
Paid him a lot of money.
Yeah. Second, but like second and third off, Flus greater than Hackett, Getsy greater than Hackett. Bears. Let's go. All right. Let's see here. You got something that you want to tell me about there, Nick, over there, perhaps?
Ooh, does it start with Athletic Greens?
It starts with Athletic and ends with Greens. Yes, that'd be lovely.
I heard Adam, doing this ad read. I'm like, man, I haven't done it in a while, but let me tell you about Athletic Greens, everyone. With 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. This mixture of ingredients, Mark, helps your immune system.
Has there ever been a more fit, well-together dude than this guy right now? I mean, look at him. Like
all the Athletic Greens, you guys. Just take your Athletic Greens. It helps.
Just a straight hero with his greens. Keep going.
It gives you energy and improves your focus, and that's why I take my Athletic Greens, and you should too. What's awesome about your AG1s is that it costs less than a cup of coffee a day. Also helps support better sleep quality and recovery, which we all definitely need. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. Super simple. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears. That is, again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears to take ownership over your health and to pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance.
So, I don't want to give full credit to Athletic Greens for you beating me on the ping pong table, but just know that I took my Athletic Greens today, and right when this show is over,
ooh, I'm down. If Lawrence wants to get some too, we can get that going.
I kicked Jake Flanagan's ass yesterday twice.
Wow.
Yeah,
he
didn't. Yeah, but no, Lawrence, you saw me. I mean, or did you see me?
I mean, I saw like a couple big swings out of you that were pretty,
the forehand is back. With you, I didn't have it going on. Today,
I don't know, Mark.
Okay, I'm
undefeated in this studio. I'm gonna keep it that way.
We're gonna report it on Twitter, and you want to make a wager on that? Go to PointsBet. Best way to bet on live on games is through our friends at PointsBet. You can bet live. You can do the same game parlay. You can bet on the next drive. You can to be a touchdown. You can cash out on your live second half over bet. It's just you can live the dream in the moment. PointsBet, our fantastic partner. Just makes football and basically any sport for that matter better. Build the perfect live same game parlay, combining your favorite bets anytime during the game, including spreads, total, player props, and more. Live your best life with PointsBet Lightning Bets. So whether you're on the move or on the couch, do it live on PointsBet. And don't forget to download the PointsBet app today. Sign up with the code CHGO. Reminding you again, 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Bet that full $2,000 there. $1,000. It's the way to go. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, also 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Mark and Lawrence, I'm seeing taking Nick and the over already in the PointsBet for ping pong, you guys. So,
Michael, I don't know if you're related to Nick, but
I don't think so.
I mean, you do have. I mean, Nick beat me in our first 2 rounds. What was it, like 21-7 and 21-13, something like that.
I think that was.
It was a bashing, and then I like a moderate showing. But it was my first time on the table, and I've been scouting Nick's game, and today is the day. Today is the day. All right, but let me see. Before we go too far down the road here.
Let me just say that I believe I lost an extra time in my first matchup with Nick. I think it was like 24-22 or something.
We had to feel each other out. We were trying to, seeing.
Yeah, I was right there.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're better than me? Better than me too, Lawrence?
I mean, I'm not saying it, but if you want to say it, feel free.
I mean, I think that's what you just said. And Lawrence, we're playing, buddy. This is
all right.
I'm taking on all comers. The only thing I want to do in my life is win outside of this show is win games on that ping pong table. Our
good friend Greg Braggs Jr. says Nick with a mustache is a force you can't contain, Mark.
You know, this level of disrespect to the veteran. I grew up with a table, so I mean,
I had it at the grandparents' house.
Okay, see, there we go. See,
Pops, him and I had some major tournaments.
We'll have to televise this live or something.
I don't think we. I think we absolutely should do some ping pong action here. People are dying for that content. All right, before we get to who needs to step up in the Packer game in a bigger way, I just want to. The positivity that is coming out of Hallis Hall and Soldier Field is beautiful, but when Byron Pringle compares
that's Pringles, according to Nick.
Pringles to Newman, when Pringles can't get the fever or the flavor of the Pringles, when Pringles compares Justin Fields to Patrick Mahomes, I personally we got to pump the brakes just a drop here. Like let's not put that on Justin Fields. Let's not disrespect your former teammate. He's Pringle on Fields quote. He knew it was 4 quarters that we had to play. I like how he handled himself. Kind of like the guy I left from in Mahomes, dude. You lose credibility when you climb the tree too tall, and. That's sweet and that's loving, and I get it that you love your guy Justin Fields, but come on, man, don't compare him to Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the game right now, who's on a Hall of Fame path that we've never seen before. That's just absurd. So I felt the need to pump a little drop a break there. I don't know. You're okay with it? It looks like.
I think just for Pringle, it's like, you know, that's where he's coming from, so it's almost natural to like. For him to compare, but look, we know what Patrick Mahomes has accomplished in this league, and we're starting to see who Justin Fields may be. But like you said, no reason to put that on him. But again, if you're being compared to Patrick Mahomes, you need to see it play out first. And we saw Justin Fields do some good things. Wasn't perfect by any means against 49ers, but. Yeah, pumping the brakes. I'm with you there.
I was extremely happy with the 3 touchdown drives. I was extremely happy the Bears won the game. I was extremely happy that he scrambled and on a broken play found Dante Pettis beautifully and didn't do anything special, just lofted it to him, showing composure. I loved that he read the defense and did a great play action, and here comes EQ running free in the end zone. He completed 47% of his passes. He threw a bad interception. We're not at Patrick Mahomes level, or even close to that. So, hey Byron, Justin is a mature, well understanding who he is and believing in his talent fields. You don't need to blow him up in any fake way. You know, you can shoot it real. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's how Justin Fields is, honestly. He doesn't really care what anybody says outside or probably even in the locker room. He's always going to be himself. So even, with the comments, like Justin's going to be Justin. And that's ultimately what is best for his football team. And if he can ever get to that level, then the Bears are going to be very competitive. But I don't think it's the comments they are what they are.
Right, not a huge deal, doesn't matter and all that. But when I saw that, I'm like, okay, can we just pump the brakes just a little bit here? Let's not compare Fields to Patrick Mahomes. Okay, Packers, Bears, Sunday night. Top 3 players that need to prove something going into Sunday night. Top 3 players that you would like to see in the chat step up bigger than they did in Game 1. Nick, you're leading this off, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy that you saw right when you clicked on this YouTube video. That's Darnell Mooney. And obviously this is the Bears' number 1 receiver. But if you look at what Mooney has done against the Packers, he's played 4 games, Mark. 20 receptions, 191 yards, and a touchdown. But the last two games, which would be last year, 6 receptions, 64 yards, a touchdown. And then obviously he only had the 1 catch against the 49ers for 8 yards on 3 targets. So for a guy that is going to be a big part of this offense, he needs to show me something against the Green Bay Packers in this one. Again, being on the road, this is your number 1 wide receiver. I need to see something out of him, Mark.
So we just talked to Jerry Rice yesterday. You can check that video up on our YouTube page. And I'm like, yeah, it's harder, but I got double teamed, and I just had to strategize it. It's going to be Darnell Mooney is going to have a ton of attention all season long, and it's a lot to ask. And he could be the major casualty to the Bears basically waiting until the next offseason to really upgrade their offense, which I think is what we'll see happen. But get better. It's a fair. I think
Get better,
it's a fair take. Like it's hard to say that name because I love him so. He's just
he's a professional.
He's straight pro, hardworking. Who else you got?
Cole Komet's another guy that we're kind of all expecting to take. Hopefully that next jump in now year 3 mark being their first pick in the 2019 draft. We need to see him, get production in the end zone. And obviously he didn't even have any production in terms of catches last
catch.
week. Yeah, so it needs to start there. But we need to, again, see Cole Komet be a part of this offense. And he will. I think, obviously last week, conditions, whatever it may be. But he did some good things blocking. But we need to see him as a pass catcher. Like, that's what you brought him here to be somebody that can be an actual weapon in this offense.
It's time. Mm-hmm. He has been underlined a lot, by myself included, that this is going to be a breakout year 3 for you. Yeah. Luke Getsy is going to scheme things up for you that has not happened in your first 2 years. Justin Fields is that much better. And considering the talent that is at wide receiver, Comet should be getting the football a bunch. We didn't see it in week 1. I think let's hopefully that we see it in week 2. That's all fair. Who's your third?
Last one is Justin Jones, and this is the guy that the second choice by the Bears at that 3 tech position. He had a bad encroachment penalty against the 49ers in week 1, so you need to see him be that disruptor. And, if you can get pressure up the middles on Aaron Rodgers, that's going to help. It's not going to guarantee that the play is going to be, stopped there, but you need to see him just create havoc in the interior of that offensive line. And, again, it's not that he had a terrible game against the 49ers, but you just expect to see more out of a guy you paid money to being on a 2-year contract.
I didn't notice him except for the horrendous encroachment play. So that Justin Jones is on my list. I got the guy next to him, too, who started last week. I don't know how long he's going to hold that, considering another guy who I want to get to in a minute. But Angelo Blackson did not notice 99 basically at all. And I've got David Montgomery in there.
Yeah.
So I get it, but that. There was a lot of focus on Demo. The Niners obviously knew the Bears were going to run the ball a lot with him. However, the Bears blocking, if you believe Pro Football Focus, which those grades are pretty damn wonky, but the Bears actually graded out pretty well. So I think it's fair to look for a little bit more from David Montgomery. The guy I want to underline, and it's also an underlining of you there, Ryan Poles, Armon Watts.
Yes.
Armon Watts flashed big.
96, man.
Yeah.
Sure did.
And so if people don't know Armon, which is possible, dude's played in 17 games last year with the Vikes. He set career highs in sacks. He had 5 of them. Tackles, 46. Tackles for loss, he had 3 of those. Quarterback hits, 10. And this is a guy at Arkansas who did not get on the field until his last season, behind some but flashed as a senior. And the Vikings, new coaching staff, whatever, they didn't fall in love with him. Tough blow for Armon. He's getting cut. Bears know that they need some help on the D-line. They go and they pick him up the next day, and bam, he looks better than both Jones and Blackson. I don't know how high is up for Armon Watts, but I'm paying attention.
Well, too, Mark, it wasn't even him. He didn't even have to make the tackle. There were times in the game where he's taking on the block to set the next guy up. And it's a very selfless defense to where anybody can be the guy that actually registers a tackle. But Armon Watts, we saw 96 flash before Armon Watts was here. Obviously, Akeem Hicks. But what you saw out of this 96, good start for his Bears career.
I mean, I'm optimistic. I want to see more.
Small sample size for sure.
But that was good to see. Eberflus, by the way, the Flus is focusing on how the Bears need to get better in our top 3s that need to get better. Flus wants better tackling. Was not thrilled with that. Quote, we have to get better. We have a young football team. We have to prove in the fundamentals of the game. Winning is fun. Ozzie Guillen putting the fun in fundamentals. Lawrence, you look miserable with the fun and fundamentals.
Honestly, I'll be honest. My mind is a little bit in pieces here because I know there's a grill being set up just outside the studio and there's meats coming, and so it is getting close to lunchtime. So I'm a little bit, in 2 places at once here.
We do have we're gonna have a great lunch today. So
Also, I'm reading the chat, and the chat's a little wild.
Okay. I guess you can't come by for lunch, but I wish you could. But I'll enjoy eating it. I'll enjoy eating it with you guys. But I listen. It's just I like having a grounded coach who goes back and sweet. You did make the tackle there, but your form wasn't great, and that's not going to be sustainable. So we are going to work on this. And we're going to be that much better in week 2. You always climbing, baby. That's like it's a Moreano thing. Look at you. I mean, just ready to be better each day. So, but I thought that was interesting. And naming loaves.
Yeah.
Roquan getting called out. Roquan's kind of laughing about it that I got called out for the loaf. But he's like, we had guys that were on the field for 50 plays and they had 20 loaves, and that's not good. So that was interesting to hear him say that.
No, it definitely was, Mark. I mean, it's just a standard that's been set with this Bears team. It doesn't matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter, you need to be running to the football. You need to be pursuing the ball carrier like you was, the first 10 plays as opposed to like the last 50. Like that's a standard that's set, Mark. And if the Bears can adhere to that and stick to it, maybe you see more of those turnover opportunities. But hey, Matt Eberflus preached it right at the very beginning when he got here, that this defense is going to experience it's going to be the hardest thing they've ever done. Hey, he's keeping true to that up to this point after week 1.
So I had a Flus nitpick yesterday.
Okay.
I've got another one today. You're my guy. I think I made that overly clear. I am in Flus corner. However, when you puff out your chest and talk about what you do a little bit too much, I get a little bit nervous. Let me read you this quote from Flus yesterday. Eberflus. It's about preparation. We prepare for that. I forget what that was. But and that would have been last Thursday. He's talking about the walkthroughs. It would have been 3rd down, and we prepare for that. And we do a lot of walkthrough reps. We probably do more walkthrough reps than most. And you're able to get those looks into situations. It's amazing how many times those things do show up. Saying that you do more walkthroughs, more coaching, you're better than I'm really a jerk, but I also am like, there's just something feels just a drop off to me. Yes, do everything you can from a coaching step. The Bears have benefited immensely by this coaching step. That is overly obvious. And they've also benefited immensely by the way that they have more talent on the team now and getting, or young talent at least. You can make an argument that Allen Robinson, Khalil Mack, that was a lot of talent walking out the door, but it was older talent. Mack played well week 1. Robinson did not. But there's the young talent on this roster. It's so damn refreshing to see. I would just warn the Flus, just puffing out your chest about how hard you work them and how you do things better than any other organizations. You don't need to do that. It's evident in what's going on.
Yeah, Mark. If they continue winning, then hey, you can puff out your chest. Like if the wins keep on coming and it happens on Sunday night against Green Bay, all right, you say what you need to say. But it's one win in a young, obviously the start of the 2022 season, but. Yeah, no, if they keep on winning, Mark, I mean, hey, can't say anything about what Eberflus and what he's doing.
Listen, the players clearly love him. I think that's obvious. Broadway Kobe, Nagy didn't do walkthroughs or practice. That's an excellent point, Broadway. We don't know what Nagy did other than just smile on the team plane when he was flying back and enjoy that everybody was doing what they do on team planes, like eating and watching movies, and Nagy loved all of it. I mean, it is so unbelievable. I thought that, I put it on Twitter yesterday. Flus starts his press conference and he's thanking Bears fans. Mm-hmm. I want to thank the Bears fans, which I just thought it was a nice touch. It was raining. It was miserable. The energy helped. I'm sure you got a ton of people screaming for Flus when he's walking off the field. And to underline that, I thought, thank you, Matt Eberflus, and thank you back, by the way. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm so happy you got this opportunity with the Chicago Bears. You've been working for it for 30 years, and now you're a head coach for the first time in your 50s. That's all of it is so sweet. But I don't think you don't have to. It's sort of the same thing with you don't have to overly underline what you do that other organizations aren't doing, I guess. So yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, I feel like you were like, no, man, don't say anything bad on my guy.
Again, if the wins keep on happening, Mark, I'm
Okay.
good with it. I'm good with it. Oh, we have an appearance by Shirtless Mac Nagy to our right. There, Mark. I don't think you've experienced this yet.
I have
the guy
not
on the
experienced
top
it.
balcony.
Yeah, out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like every time I'm on the show, he makes an appearance. I don't
Yeah.
even think
He
the
does it
sun's
for
out.
you.
Yeah.
Sun's
That's what
out,
it
guns out. No sun's out, guns out. Doesn't matter.
That's what it is.
Yeah. We're gonna bring in. Is Will DeWitt ready? Is he gonna join us?
We're gonna bring in Will.
I
but
s-
Oh,
I
Will's
see him.
ready. Is
I
there
go-
any ads to do before we get to Will?
before we bring on Will,
Yeah.
I gotta tell everybody about Game Time.
Game time.
And what I need to tell everyone about with Game Time is that first we're going to start with a question here. All of our listeners and viewers, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Have you ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could? The 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate,
every day.
every day? Floor seats at a concert too, Mark?
For sure.
Okay, it's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. You won't find a better deal this season on Bears tickets unless you use Game Time. And if you love CHGO, then you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. So if you're watching this video, check out that description. You'll find the link to Game Time.
Yeah, let me just show you how easy it is here.
Look at this.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's our stream right here. Oh my God, it's like a weird live thing. First off, why haven't you hit the like button yet? There's only 75 likes in here. I know there's
Get that
450
up.
people watching. Let's go. But yeah, here is the Game Time link right beneath the tailgate. That's happening too. Game Time. Boom. Here it is. And now check this out. Oh my gosh, Bears tickets at Green Bay, $109 to get in.
I might buy a White Sox ticket right now for tonight. You can get the cheapest seat right now is $1. We've got a $1
White
option
Sox?
on the Game Time app. So throw in all the fees, which are it's beautiful when you click on it that you see exactly what's going to cost you. $6. $6
To go to a baseball
to get in tonight for
Game Time.
Hells yes, let's go. Maybe Hogue can't talk, but maybe he'll meet me up there tonight for Rockies and White Sox because I know you still believe out there, Adam Hogue. So there we go. Yes,
Boom.
Game Time, living the dream. We'll talk to Will in 1 second here, but I think there is something else that I got to tell you. Is that right?
Yeah,
there?
it probably is. I don't know. Is there any ad reads?
Actually, no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah,
we
we're good.
we
Okay.
actually are good.
We can bring in Will DeWitt.
All right, Will. Who?
Oh, we're in the shirt. I love it.
You
Look
got
at Will.
how do you see his shirt? Oh, I.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he's wearing the shirt.
Flash.
Very, very creative. What's up, Will?
Wait, unmute yourself. I think you're muted, mister.
Does
Yeah,
DeWitt mute her?
you've muted
Did you
yourself.
mute me?
There you go.
I don't recall hitting the button.
It said guest has muted himself. It said guest has muted himself.
Nick experienced that when we used Ecamm a lot back in the day. So I guess he wasn't lying to me after all. I always thought he was. So there we go. Hey guys, but hey, I just wanted to. I know I have a segment here that we wanted to get to, but I want to rebuke what Carm was talking about with Coach Flus because, I mean, that perked up my ears a little bit. Carm, you talked about it earlier in the episode that he has been adamant that there's a lot of work yet to be done from this team, and he's been focused on preparation and working harder than other teams since he got here. So if he thought that's why they won, I don't know why he wouldn't just kind of like pump up that fact, make those players believe in that hard work actually paying off so they can continue to kind of keep those same efforts up. I didn't have a problem with it.
So you're saying that he's almost like talking to the team, like, hey, yes, we do this more, and maybe you don't even like that we do this all the time, but look at the proof in the pudding, so continue to buy into me. Is that how you're hearing it?
Yeah, like imagine if he's the father of this team and they're all the kids. Like you can tell your kid you're proud of him, but if your kid overhears you telling another parent, like, hey, my kid's working hard, I'm proud of this guy. Like I think that takes a little bit more stock too.
Oh, now I'm in a whole father kid, and this is the in the NFL and not high school, which is now I'm back in like Matt Nagy's zone where I thought he
Hey,
should be.
But this is a young team. This is a young team. You have to think about that fact too. Like these are young 20-something-year-old men. Obviously, they have a leader here, but I believe for him to kind of give them some kudos in a public atmosphere, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because they're pushing this team hard. We've seen it all OTAs, all training camp, this preseason, and even what we saw in this week 1 matchup. So again, like for me, like for him to do that, I wouldn't have any issues with it, especially if he correlates it or combats it with like, but we still have a lot of work to do. We're not perfect. We have a lot to clean up and we're still going to improve. So I think having that yin and yang kind of approach isn't an issue. Who's leaving? Who's waving?
I also
Matt
do wanna
Peck's here.
underline
Matt
my-
Peck's here. I haven't seen him in like 2 weeks.
One of my most exciting things about being at CHGO is the fact that I can now be in the same room as Matt Peck and be able to talk Bulls basketball with him, which is really exciting for me. And also good to see him today. Looking forward to all the Bulls content, which is going to be amazing when Lonzo Ball gets healthy. That now on a side run. I want to also just underline here, Will. I just said it was a nitpick. It was just it's just a nit of the pick. It's just a little tiny. It's not keeping me up at night. It's a 2 out of 10, if that. But I'm just here to remind the Flus that he does not have to. Even though you're just one game into your career, you belong here. You are worthy of being in this spot. You don't need to oversell yourself or what you're doing at all. This is a very, very quick, I just think realistic buy-in, seeing everything that's happened, that this guy knows what he's doing, and he's not going to be Brian Dable jumping up and down and super fun in the locker room like we saw. I mean, his post game was it was very flusy, and that's totally fine. You don't have to be the best rah-rah guy. You do what you do. It's working for the Bears. You've put your whole life's work into this, and he's just deserving of the opportunity. So it's actually more of a compliment for the Flus. How's that? Does that feel better?
A nitpicky backhanded compliment. Sure. I guess that sounds a little better. I truly believe that they're working on and working towards being the hardest working team in the NFL. And I think they understand that they have to, with a lack of superstars. They understand it takes a whole team effort and that intensity and the hustle and just that overall level of effort needs to be better. And they're going to outwork teams. I think that's what he was getting to or on with that comment. But yeah, I liked how you reframed it.
Yeah. And listen, they need to outwork teams. They are not as talented. They are going to have to be better fundamentally. This is how they're going to win games. This is why the people that were optimistic about the Bears this year and took the over, you were betting, and Hogue, I'll underline this very well, you were betting on the first-year bump from a new coach and a team buying in and guys overachieving. And that's the only way that if you really want to dream it big, that's how the Bears are going to surprise the NFL world, surprise the doubters, surprise the NFL pundits, and actually, hang around and be more than a story of just, winning Week 1 versus San Francisco. That's what they're going to have to do. You also, Will, you had some sweet underlining too of the coaching staff, and in one particular, allchgo.com. Read Will's stuff, read everyone's stuff, but you underlined that not just on the touchdown pass to Equiminius St. Brown was it, the play action, but it was also the personnel that was on the field. I thought that was a great point by you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was rewatching the game for a couple of articles. I have my rewatch revelations already out, and every week I'm also doing a red zone report. So I'm going to look at every single play in the red zone because, guys, and we always talk about games were won and lost in the trenches, but how teams fare in the red zone, both on offense and defense, has so much sway on the outcomes of games, and I love to kind of take those under the microscope. But I noticed that on that touchdown to EQ, obviously they had the play fake. It was a 3rd and 2, and it's it's either can go on the ground, but the Bears have been heavily a rushing team up to that point in this game. But for them to take off Darnell Mooney and go a little bit heavier, you take your best wide receiver off the field. I think that helps sell that play action just a little bit more when you see Justin start to hand that thing off and you're like, okay, 11's not out here. I think that really allowed the 49ers to just fully believe that thing was going to be handed off on the ground, and which really helped open up EQ in the back end of that defense. So as much as it could be the play call and the players executing that play fake, because Nick and I talked about it, and I'm sure you guys did in your post game too, about EQ just really selling that block. The personnel decision from the Bears, Luke Getsy, to keep their best receiver off the field to really make them believe it's going to be a run, I think is another underrated wrinkle that hasn't been brought up yet.
Well, when you kind of rewatched and saw, obviously, that rotation, Lucas Patrick, Tevin Jenkins, the offensive line in general, what were your takeaways from just kind of seeing what those guys are capable of doing?
Sure. So Tevin Jenkins, Lucas Patrick, I thought in terms of pass protection, it looked about the same to me in terms of like what they're able to accomplish. But when it came to run blocking, I really like what Tevin was able to do in this game. There were a few plays we talked about. I think even Adam just tweeted, we talked about the one play where he kind of, in pass protection, took Bosa and shoved him to the ground and then also led the way for Fields too. That was a great one. But in run blocking, there were a few different plays. That was a great play. And I think that's a moment for him that he can look back on film and feel like, all right, cool, like build some momentum. I belong. That's huge. But in the run game, too, there are a lot of plays that went right behind him, and he was able to seal off the lineman just to kind of turn his back. And that's what you have to do in his zone scheme. You get your body on him, you turn him, you open up the hole. And he was able to do that really well. And I thought that, to me, is a good sign for him adapting the guard and being someone that can make some impactful blocks on the ground game. He played very well there. And honestly, when I rewatched it, Sam Mustipher played better than I would have expected him to. And if I'm looking at the entire offensive line who struggled, weirdly enough, Cody Whitehair, I thought, struggled more than some of the other linemen up front for the Bears, both in pass protection and on the ground game, getting pushed around just a little bit too much. And when I was watching the game up in the box with you, Nick, like 65 was probably the last person I wanted to pay attention to because he's usually just so sound and consistent. We're watching Tevin, we're watching Lucas Patrick, Sam Mustipher, Braxton Jones over there at left tackle. So I wasn't even paying attention to 65. But during my rewatch, I was like, damn, like he struggled a little bit more than I thought.
What'd you think of Braxton?
Braxton, yeah, obviously growing pains that we saw, but I thought he was able to kind of turn those around. Obviously, he struggled a little bit more in the first half. The play calling did help him a little bit more in the second half, but for him in his first ever professional game as a fifth-round pick, winning this job and going up against a 49ers defensive line that is just has tremendous talent inside and out, I thought he played well.
Will on the rewatch here for the second time. He's going to watch it a third time, maybe a fourth time. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Will, just real quickly on Travis Gibson, Alquani Muhammad. They were kind of moving them around a little bit. I know I think you said it where we might see Travis at D tackle at some point. I think that happened, right? What was your takeaway there?
Yep. Yeah, I liked it. I pointed that out to you in the box when I saw number 99 kind of shift in, 55 on the outside, and whenever they did that, and it wasn't often in this game, but I thought the Bears were able to kind of like overload that side of the line and get good pressure. And when I'm thinking about this further, as the season goes along, having that same look, but maybe with Dominique Robinson coming in there too, it could be even a more dangerous situation for the Bears on top of this too. One other player that I wanted to kind of highlight that really I don't think has gotten a lot of love yet is Matthew Adams. Only 15 snaps played on defense as that Sam backer, but he's someone that we've talked about throughout the offseason that he has been primarily a special teams player throughout his career, but he's been in this defense for a long time under Eberflus in Indianapolis. Can he come in? Can he play this Sam linebacker spot? And I thought he did well. Only 15 snaps, but every single time he was around the football and he was able to kind of flow, clog up that gap, be in there on the tackle. And I just thought on top of that, he just looked the part of what you're looking for from a Sam backer, bigger guy who can be a really good run defender. So Matthew Adams, Sam Adams, that's a totally different person way back in history, but Matthew Adams as the Sam backer, there we go. That could be a good nickname for him, Sam Adams. I thought he played well.
Two things that I've got down here that you underlined that I still want you to touch on, and phenomenal work. Check out the breakdown of the rewatch, allchgo.com. One, you talked about Fields' leadership with Ryan Griffin early in the game, which that is something we've heard that, Fields is one of the captains on the team, and so now we're seeing it in actual, real time. And then the other side of this, too, and we touched on it earlier, but I want you to kind of see the future with Khalil Herbert and what that might look like with David Montgomery and how the Bears coaching staff seems to be falling in love with this guy.
Yes, for sure. So very first series of the game, Justin Fields, he was sacked on third down. On this play, Ryan Griffin chipped on Nick Bosa and leaked out. But then after the play, Fields literally called him over. They didn't go to the sidelines to talk. Like, he called him like, hey, Ryan, come here. And they walked off together and kind of had a discussion. That would have been one where if I was in the post-game presser and I saw that live, I would love to know what that conversation was about. But it just obviously whatever Ryan did, I don't think he was supposed to. So he did release. Maybe he was supposed to hold that block a little bit longer, give Fields just a little bit more time. But for Fields to kind of go immediately to Ryan and get this thing corrected. And Griffin is a longtime vet in this league. He's over 30 years old. He's been around for quite a while. So for Justin, in only his second year, like not shying away from calling out a veteran or at least calling him over to correct him and have a discussion, I thought was a great sign about his leadership and his, not just leadership, but owning this offense completely, which is another element that we need to see him this kind of continue to grow in. And then with Khalil Herbert, man, I just love his ability to continue to fall forward. We saw that a lot years ago with Jordan Howard, that forward momentum and being able to, like, he doesn't have to be the fastest guy, but you can find that forward positive momentum and always gain some of those yards after contact. I've been very impressed with his patience since his arrival in Chicago over the last 2 years, and really is his patience and that vision that allowed him to score that touchdown in the red zone too, because he was looking to go to the 4 hole, which is between Jenkins and Larry Borum over there on the right side. He looks up, that whole thing was clogged. He looks left, and outside the left tackle, Braxton Jones, huge gap, and he was able to just kind of wiggle over and score. So that vision, that patience from Khalil Herbert on display. I know it fits this zone scheme. We've talked about it. Montgomery only averaged like 1 point, whatever it was, yards per carry. Herbert had 5 yards per carry. I'm not going to sit here and say right now that, yes, Herbert is the better fit. Montgomery had a lot more opportunities when the offensive line was struggling a bit. But I thought, too, the Bears' decision in the red zone to just kind of like ride Herbert there instead of going back to Montgomery because Herbert was a hot hand is a good testament to this coaching staff understanding that they need to be adaptable. And I'm sure Montgomery was someone they wanted to get more involved in the red zone, but with Herbert being able to average 5 yards, per carry per pop, why not give it to him, ride him into the end zone? And that's exactly how it played out. So testament to Herbert, but also the coaching staff to recognize in game what's working, what's not, and going with, the actual thing that's working, which we have not seen, in previous years.
Will, appreciate your insight. For everybody that wants to get more in depth about what Will is talking about, you can go to allchgo.com, and the article is called Bears Rewatch Revelations. Multiple young players stand out as Chicago wills itself to victory. And also, Will has another article out there, always working there. Bears Week 1 Red Zone Report, Chicago excels in season opener. That'll be coming out in a little bit, but check out all of his great stuff at allchgo.com, and you can become a better, or smarter and better Bears fan by doing so. And don't forget to follow him on Twitter. Will DeWitt, the L's are ones.
Yes, they are. I'm almost to my goal of 5,000 subs by my birthday in November, which I outlined way back when we made the transition, and I actually had to focus on my personal Twitter account. So we're getting there.
Congrats. Keep it rolling. At WI11 DeWitt. Hey, Will, great stuff as always, brother.
Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
There he goes, Will DeWitt, who was also doing work last night. I was checking out some of him and Braggs and Jake, which was fun. Torrey and Whitfield, by the way, I've seen you there a bunch today. Sometimes Monty needs to run straight.
That might help.
Yeah, I noticed that one. It's
you know what though, that one cutback he had, where he ended up getting another like 8 yards, and I don't know. He showed flashes for me.
Definitely. There were flashes, but
we gotta trust that Demo knows what Demo's got to do. But just perhaps maybe,
having some better blocking will definitely help.
Right up the middle, no problem. Now, speaking of be better as we wrap up the show, I wasn't there. You were, so you're gonna have to wear it for us right now. Apparently, our softball season has come to an end. WSCR, Lawrence Holmes, Shane Reardon, and company were two of the.
Hey, do me a favor. Don't say that clown's name on the air.
Which one? I can't.
Not Lawrence. I love Lawrence.
Oh,
the other guy. Don't mention his name. He's a fucking clown.
Okay.
No need to talk about that guy.
Yeah. Well, we lost, and you were there. What Just give the recap.
Yeah, it wasn't our best game. I'll say that, Mark. We played a playoff game 2 weeks before. We had the holiday off, and we were catching the ball, making plays in the outfield, making plays in the infield, hitting. That didn't happen last night. We just didn't play our best game. I had a drop in the outfield, made a good catch later, but just wasn't consistent enough, Mark. Got to have consistency if you want to win, and that did not happen last night.
If Flus had been there for the team, could we have won?
Maybe a little bit of motivation, but I don't know. It just wasn't there. It didn't align, Mark. But, that was our first year in the league, obviously.
Yeah.
We got a playoff win.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't have any consistency in terms of the lineup each and every week. It was always changing.
Oh,
but,
boy.
we're going to get some practices in for the summer leading up to the next season, and I think we're going to be a lot better than what we showed this year.
Well, on the positive side, we did make the playoffs, correct?
We made the playoffs and got a victory.
And won a playoff game.
Yep.
In our first year.
There's stuff to build on.
Yeah,
for
I'd
sure.
like
Stuff
to.
build
I mean, if you had to underline who needs to be better going into year 2, and what needs to happen in this offseason, does anything come to mind?
I'll say I need to get better. Like I never grew up playing
Dude, points
baseball
to
or
thumb.
anything,
Yeah.
but once I learned how to consistently,
Carmen,
I
here's
always got
the thing.
hits.
Early on in this season,
Yeah.
Nick somehow was given the role of the guy who fills out the lineup card.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that.
I don't know who just made that decision. I'm going to guess K-Duck. But
Football guy.
he actually put a diamond out there that was actually a triangle. Yeah, he drew
Everyone
it.
knew where they needed to be.
He
Let's
drew
just say
that.
that.
Like the fielders, and it was on a triangle. So that's what we were starting with. So,
so-
Nick's grown a lot. I think we're more work.
I think I voted to the All-Star game.
I mean, to come from that to where we got to, that sounds like we did fantastic.
progress.
And I just will mention to upper management that I would love to be a part of next season's team.
I feel like the new additions. I mean, if somehow we can get Corey
We have
Wooten
to have
out there,
tryouts.
Although
Carmen
actually-
Vitalia, I bet she's good with a bat. Is my
we could use that fire out
I
there.
think
There's no doubt about it.
She's got the Italian that I like. So.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Braggs Jr. He'd show up to the game at 6 in the morning and be there all day.
For sheer intimidation, we've got to get Braggs out there. I don't know if he can play or cannot play, but you just get better by being around Greg Braggs. So there's that. And to be honest, as much as I want to help, I mean, I'm a 12-inch guy, so for me to segue over, I mean, that's.
What are you doing?
No,
Another terrible L take. You are just getting every day.
12
Every day, you got to have a terrible take.
12-inch is. I'm not going to sit there
I'm
and
going to
die.
make a graphic.
I'm not gonna say your dad.
Carm's terrible takes.
Yeah, listen, I like my fingers. I like.
There's some injuries going on here. Not gonna lie.
I like them intact, and I have played in this league, and this little pinky got taken down, and and I retired at that moment. But that was back in the day. Now it's I want to be a part of the team here.
Even clown Matt Nagy in the chat, 12-inch guy. Jesus, I mean,
Did you just put that in yourself?
I did not. That guy, our friend Matt Nagy is always in the chat. So
I haven't played. I've never played the 12-inch before.
Wait a
Sorry,
second. You've
softball.
never played 12-inch?
Not in a league, I guess. I should say in a league. I've never done
from Chicago, man. There's no such thing.
No.
Come on.
That just means that the fact that Nick was running this team and he's never played 12-inch means that
Never
we
played
need Nick to be
Only football.
I wouldn't even be the Peter principle. But we need to put you in your right role, which sounds like where were you playing last night?
I was left field.
You were in left. Okay. Who's in right?
I can in right. Who's in right in this? I forget.
It doesn't matter.
Look,
It didn't work. Season's over. Moving on.
I roam around like a
okay.
safety.
All right, just know, everybody, we're coming back strong next year, and we're taking this. We're gonna win the damn thing. That's my plan. Anything I can do to help, I'll be there. Thank you for watching today. We're back tomorrow at noon, and yeah, one day better every day this week, building up to Sunday night. Super excited for Sunday night, too, pre and post. And Nick's going to be up at Lambeau. Corey Wooten's going to be in studio. Hogue hopefully will be healthy. And the Bears will
Hopefully come away with a
hopefully stun the world again and beat the Packers. Have a great rest of your day. And tell a friend about CHGO. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. What are you laughing at, Lawrence?
Nothing. I'm not going to say it. No, it's fine. You can wrap the show. It's fine.
All right, we'll say goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow.